Hey Grande Alive, this is your weekly Newsish Roundup brought to you by Grande Hospital, Northwest Furniture and Mattress, Anything2Digital.com, and Direct Music Source. In keeping with recent events, it's all about women this week at the Newsish Roundup. I like women. Women are great. I know without the women in my life, well, I'd probably be huddled up in a dark corner somewhere, dressed in yoga pants, unemployed, working on some pet project. I'd probably be a lot skinnier and more malnourished. I'd probably have far less cuddles in my life. Honestly, I'd probably be dead, and you think I'm kidding. Bottom line, I like women, and I think that most people agree that we should keep them around. And one way of keeping them around is giving them money, and that's exactly what the Optimist International group of Grande is trying to do, give women money for education. Optimists International of Grande is a group dedicated to helping women and children all around the world. And every year they give out thousands of dollars in scholarships for the upcoming school year at EOU. And this week we got an opportunity to sit back, chill, and learn about who they are and why exactly they're so hell-bent on giving money to women.
I'm Melinda Walker, and I've been a Optimist for almost 5 years. I joined the organization sort of selfishly in a way to meet local business women in our community. The mission of the organization is to better the lives of women and children. Throughout history, women and girls have faced generally additional obstacles. When our club was started back in the 40s, locally, women basically had the option of career-wise being a teacher or a nurse. There weren't a lot of other options, and now, fast forward all these many years later, women are CPAs and they're utility managers and financial advisors. We have been able to break all of those barriers to what women have traditionally done in the workplace.
One of the simple ways that Optimists can support women and girls is to provide scholarships so that they can further their education and create a better life for their children and for other people around them. The scholarships is a piece of how they give back, but it's one of the simple ways that they can fund education to improve the lives of women and girls.
The scholarship was extremely helpful for me. I actually graduated completely debt-free, so I always tell people that investing even just an hour in a scholarship application can pay off significantly. The scholarship I received from Optimists was $3,000, and I think the application probably took me about an hour. So that's $3,000 an hour that I made. I feel like having these scholarships and these groups that are so focused on women and children, it really helps build up that gender gap.
We are still financially not earning the same dollar for dollar that a man does, and because we do traditionally take the caregiving role of raising the children, that removes us from the workplace, and that has fiscally and in our career has a detriment. So I believe that's where wanting to benefit women and girls in education come from, is wanting to equalize that value. I think it's really important in today's world, especially where we are in constant contact with people with social media, that we still reach out in a person-to-person connection.
It's kind of life-changing to be a part of their fundraising events like the Festival of Trees, and you have $30,000 or $40,000 that's raised for local other civic organizations. Just to see what we can do together that kind of has a ripple effect to benefit everybody else around you is just a really good feeling.
It's been wonderful. I'm very, very proud and pleased to be a member of Optimists of Grande.
This year, Optimist has even more money to give away than in years previous. They have scholarships ranging from $500 to $5,000, and this year, Optimist actually has opened up several of their scholarships to men to go to trade schools under the premise that sometimes helping men helps women indirectly. So, if you're a woman or a man who wants to help women by learning a trade, head to the Optimist website located at legrandesoroptimist.org and apply for some money. And keep helping women, because let's be honest, men, if it weren't for them, we'd probably all destroy each other and ourselves with our incessant manly impulses towards progress. Not to be pessimistic or anything, I've just thought about the Daoist symbol too many times to even think about what living in a world without women or femininity would be like. And since I didn't get a chance to talk about women enough during that last package, I invited Melinda Wells, one of my interviewees for it, to come in and talk more about women on camera on Coffee with Will. Now, Melinda is a big proponent of women's advocacy in Grande. But she says that the best thing that both men and women can do to promote women and help them out is, well, to make sure we're taking care of our families and our children.
I'm a firm believer that it all starts at home, and making sure that what your values are spoken about, and time is spent really putting that into your own family, your own backyard, before you look to help the world. And I know that there's a lot of very, very dedicated, busy moms out there today thinking that by running their kids to dance and swim and football and volleyball and all of these activities that their kids want to participate, that's how they're being the best parent they can be. And that's certainly a part of it. But there also needs to be a balance with time at home and time spent talking about values and really important things that kids need to be secure in before they get out into the big wide world.
Overall, the conversation was a socially relevant exploration of women and women's advocacy right here in Grande. The rest of this interview is available on our Facebook or our website at legrandealive.tv. Women at the schools, women in the studio, and women in the streets. Last week, almost 400 people, both men and women, marched right here in Grande for women. There were signs, slogans, and according to the Observer, 100 different reasons that people showed up to march for the members of the female sex. The march went from the Daniel Chaplin Building all the way to Max Square. The march ultimately had its roots in the Women's March movement, quote unquote, a movement founded just recently in Washington, D.C., according to their website, in defense of women's rights, health, and families. Also, according to their website, the organization believes in nonviolent protest to send a message to those they're protesting to, in this case, the government in Washington, D.C. But then again, like I said earlier, there were 100 different reasons for people being here on the march in Grande. For some people, said the Observer, the march was political. For others, it wasn't. For some, it was about Trump. For others, it wasn't. But the unifying message, it seems, was that human dignity is something worth speaking up about. And it's great to live in a place where we have the right to express our opinions in nonviolent protests, such as these. And now it's your favorite trio of film buffs here to review our second Oscar hopeful film of the season, Hell or High Water.
I'm Josh Byers.
And I'm Jeannie Nickel.
And welcome to Grande Film Reviews, where we're continuing our special weekly coverage of Oscar films.
This week we'll be discussing the modern-day Western Hell or High Water.
Hell or High Water, nominated in 4 categories, stars Chris Pine and Ben Foster, brothers who go on a bank-robbing spree to raise enough money to save their family ranch.
Despite the high-stakes premise, the film focuses on a deliberately paced, confident escalation of tension that culminates in a thrilling climax and one of the most engaging films of the year.
Let's jump in.
You know, the bank loan just enough to keep your mama poor. Thought they could swipe her land. Now they can foreclose on Friday. So come hell or high water,
Get the money to the bank on Thursday.
and then you are free and clear.
Like, we've been talking about the three, those three, and they did have the most, like, screen time, technically.
But Gil Birmingham was such a great support. Like, he was consistent the entire way through and still had really good moments. They just weren't as brightly shown.
Right, he didn't have the highest highs or the lowest
Yeah.
lows, but he was just like a rock, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, his moments, you know, I talked about last week when we talked about fences, you know, each character had a peak, and that was really good to enjoy those with the characters, or I guess indulge in it. And he had some really good moments, you know, here and there, and I think the best part of his character was the acting without dialogue, the moments where
He's really good at that.
where he was reacting. Hell or High Water offers a modern revival of the Western genre, bringing some social consciousness along with this exciting sense of mayhem.
The rest of this discussion can be found online at Grande Alive TV.
So, what's going on this upcoming week? Well, the Grande Shakespeare Company is at it again, taking a new and interesting twist on another stage performance. Their next dramatic experiment is performing Sherlock Holmes: A Scandal in Bohemia at Looking Glass Books. Seriously, in the bookstore. Plays will run the first and second weekends in February, with an additional showing on February 14th. Also, if you've got some seed and you want to trade, head to the Cook Memorial Library this Friday at 4 p.m. for the seed swap, whatever that is. Something like a ski swap, I'm guessing, except for people who desperately want the snow to go away. In sports, the LeGrand High School basketball teams trashed it this weekend, the girls dunking it, not literally, against Pendleton Tuesday night, 55-49. The game went back and forth until finally LeGrand polished off the night with Lacey Miles' twin free throw points Pendleton just couldn't come back from. The boys, on the other hand, were dunking it quite literally as they smashed Hermiston 65-37 on Monday, the team that had given them their first loss of the season just about a week before. But the next day, while the girls were just barely making the hurdle against Pendleton, the boys couldn't reach the bar when they lost in Pendleton to Pendleton 59-63. Elgin boys had one game, one loss this weekend to Union 26-54. Union boys also beat Enterprise on Friday 52-40, putting them up 2-2 for the weekend before their next game against Imbler coming up on the 28th. Imbler boys came out of the weekend 2 up as well, one versus Grant Union 48-35 and the second versus Enterprise. Imbler girls also had twin wins this weekend, beating Grant Union 34-32 and Enterprise the next day 44-34. Union got 1-1, one loss versus Enterprise 24-38, and one win versus Elgin 38-34. And last, and in this case least, Elgin sunk both their games this weekend. They lost to Enterprise 21-50. Ouch. And as I said before, to Union 34-38, leaving them down and out heading into this coming weekend. And now, without further ado, around the mountain in 90 seconds.
I'm Evan House.
And I'm Chris Duarte of VU Athletics.
This is Around the Mountain in about 90 seconds.
Women's basketball picked up 2 conference wins over the weekend. Saturday, the Mounties defeated NCU 74-68. Van Bell dropped a career-high 19 points while Weber tallied 17. The momentum continued Sunday as they rolled past Corbin 76-56. IUDS paced 4 Mountaineers that scored in double digits as she dropped 16 points, grabbed 6 rebounds, and dropped 3 dimes. The Blue and Gold returned home for this weekend's games against Evergreen and Northwest, Friday and Saturday.
The men's basketball team split a pair of road games in the CCC this weekend. First, on Saturday, Blue and Gold couldn't complete the comeback and fell to Northwest Christian 93-90. Sunday, EU returned to its winning ways, taking down Corbin 84-72. Kentrell Washington led the way in the victory with 27 points and 8 boards. EU returns to Quinn Coliseum on Friday to take on Evergreen.
For track and field at the Bronco Invitational, Jabari Cumberbatch won the 60-meter dash with a record time of 6.91 seconds. Matthew Kirkendall topped his time of last week of 8.29 and posted a new mark of 8.27 this week in the 60-meter hurdles, while finishing second overall. On the women's side, Elizabeth Herdes finished 9th in the 600-meter run, and Rachel Rowley took home 12th in the 3,000-meter run. EOU returns to action February 3rd through the 4th in Nampa for the Jackson Invitational.
The EU men's wrestling team placed 5 wrestlers in the top 4 of their weight classes on Sunday in the Clackamas Open. Third-ranked Matt Wynn took home second place at 125 pounds. Terry Mason secured a 4th place finish in the 157-pound weight class. The 165-pound duo of Brandon Davidson, Cole Ovens netted second and 4th, Davidson taking second, Ovens taking 4th. Finally, in the 197-pound class, Eric Van grabbed second, only losing to Southern Oregon's Tanner Fisher.
That's the latest news in EU athletics. Stay tuned next week as we take you around the mountain in about 90 seconds.
For more information, visit www.eusports.com.
And that's your weekly Newsish. Just kidding, we're not quite done yet. This week we have a special treat for you, a behind-the-scenes voyage into the deepest recesses of Grande Alive, brought to you by Brent Clapp, owner and operator of the station, the first of many looks into the cords and camera lenses of your local online television station.
When I started Brent Clapp Media Services in 2010, I wanted to do something to help increase the speed of news available in the local valley. Streaming video over the internet was just getting started, but I knew that there was nothing faster or more instant than live video. I put together a laptop and a capture device, and I planned on doing my first live event. In one night, I registered the domain name, legrandalive.tv, created a website, and opened a streaming account. Unfortunately, the next day when I tried streaming my first live public event, I got the time wrong, and I ended up arriving there just as everybody was leaving. So here we are today, regularly streaming multiple camera sporting events. And that has become one of our flagship services at Grande Alive TV. We are currently halfway through the LHS boys and girls varsity basketball season. I will let Will explain what's involved in streaming live basketball.
What's really fun about being the director at a sports game is that you have 4 or 5 things going on around you all at the same time. And if you make a mistake, it just goes live and then it's over. It's done with. You can't go back and fix it. You can't mess with it in post. It's done, it's done, it's done, and you move on and you have to do something else. I used to switch up in Alaska for a sports venue, much like the one that we have here, except for on a much larger scale. And so at any given time on that team, we had anywhere between 6 and 7 people doing what we're doing here with 3 or 4. Currently, at this game, we have myself, who is the director extraordinaire, and we have Brent Clapp, who is the producer. He's the sort of behind-the-scene guy, the guy who designed all of the equipment and the system that we use. We have Forrest Smith, who is our camera operator. Lydia Berkshire is normally our camera operator, but she had to work tonight. We have Evan House and Chris Duarte, who are our announcers, who call the games.
One of my favorite things about calling live sports is just my background. You know, growing up, I played a lot of sports in high school, middle school. Coming from Indiana, basketball is a huge thing.
I've always been in a background where I play sports. I go to sporting events all the time, and there's nothing like the atmosphere, whether it's in a gym, outdoors. It's just something that brings a lot of people together, and that's what I like about it.
We do a weekly sports show with EOU and Grande Alive called Around the Mountain in 90 Seconds, where we basically cover the week or weekend sports of EOU. And so we met Brent and Will, and they talked to us about calling the games because they liked our sports knowledge, and so we both enjoy sports so much that we were like, heck yeah.
The costs of streaming and paying for a crew of 4 for every game is covered by the commercials of our sponsors, which are rolled into the broadcast during the breaks and timeouts of the game. We intend to do more sporting events in the future as long as we have the sponsorship to pay for the expenses that we incur in the field. We really like doing live events. Be sure and check out our website for our webcast schedule and watch our live game feeds on Facebook or on our website. I hope you've enjoyed this behind-the-scene look at Grande Alive TV. I'm Brent Clapp.
And that's your weekly Newsish Roundup. This roundup was brought to you by Ronde Hospital, Northwest Furniture and Mattress, anything2digital.com, and Direct Music Source. Please like and share this video, and be sure to tune in for more local content. I'm Will Bowman.